my audio is correct in this because I had to reset my mic, so... What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I am Lolise, and today we are going to be talking about somebody I never expected to be making a video about, and that is an anti-MLM content creator named Jessica Hickson. But before we get into that, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get a notification every time I post. And please don't send anybody that we talk about in this video any hate, negativity, nothing like that. These are just my thoughts and opinions based on what I'm seeing playing on the internet. So if you have something to say about what we were talking about, just shoot it down in the comments below. That's what they are there for. I feel like my shirt is like super loud. I'm sorry. I'm wearing this long sleeve tee. I'm wearing actually a super cool X-Men shirt. I'm gonna show you. It's cool. It's got all the best female X-Men. So done with my fashion. Let's talk about Jessica Hickson. So this one is kind of disappointing because Jessica Hickson is actually a creator that I enjoyed watching and I was subscribed to, or I guess I probably still am subscribed to her at this point. She was pretty much an anti-MLM content creator, at least on YouTube. She did post anti-MLM stuff on TikTok and on Instagram. I don't really check in on TikTok very much. It's just where a lot of this happened. So I didn't really realize some of this stuff was going down for a while. She got big in the anti-MLM community because she actually was very high up in an MLM called It Works. Now, if you don't know what MLMs are, they stand for multi-level marketing or pyramid schemes, where it's, you know, all those people that you see on Facebook and Instagram who are trying to either sell you supplement products, or in Jessica's case, they did do supplements, but she worked for It Works, so their big thing was like their body wrap, and they did have vitamins too. And they either try to sell you exorbitant amount of these, or really the big goal is to sign you up to be a distributor under them, so they make money off of your sales, but really you need to get more people to sign up under you, and they create this whole downline, hence a pyramid scheme. Jessica got really high up in It Works, but then she had like a series of events where I think she had stuff happen with like her friends, and she started to feel bad, but then she also realized even by getting up to the very top of this pyramid, she was making no money at all. Because guess what? It's a scam. Only the people at the very, very top of the pyramid, that like literally 1%, are making any money. Not unlike the real world in capitalism. She left, and then she made a video like exposing everything. That was the first video I saw, and I continued to watch her videos here and there. I'm not like huge into anti-MLM content and watching all that, but like I watch a few people occasionally. Like I would watch her. I will sometimes watch CC Suarez. There's a couple other here and there, but I don't watch any of them really like that regularly. But those are actually the only two anti-MLM content creators that I am actually subscribed to. What she does, just like anybody else does in their videos, is she talks about compensation plans, crashes meetings and Zoom calls, conferences, breaking down the predatory nature of the business. Now, I also kind of thought that she would break down that like a lot of this stuff is like pseudoscience, but now that I'm looking back, like I'm not entirely sure. I actually went and looked back to see if she had done any videos on Young Living, because they are an essential oil company, and while I do like essential oils and I do think they have their place in the world, and I realized she never did a Young Living video, so it makes me think like she didn't want to like work on debunking sciences and pseudosciences, because that is something that she believes in, hence we're gonna get into in a little bit. I liked her videos though overall because they were informative of like the breakdown of payments, how you get to these different levels, like all that stuff, all the drama and tea and whatnot. But like I said, I didn't watch her videos all of the time, so there are plenty of videos that I missed. I can't actually think of a creator that I watch every single video that they post. But anyway, I did follow her on Instagram too, but I don't really like check Instagram stories that much, and you know, Instagram doesn't really show you pictures and posts of people that you follow that much anymore. They just show you a bunch of ads, so I never really saw much of what she was posting on Instagram. I've been starting to use TikTok more recently in the past 2 weeks because a lot of stuff goes down there that I am curious about, but I really overall just don't use it or engage in with it that much. But she did create a pretty large following on TikTok of like over 400k followers over there. Something else that she talks about is a disorder that she developed called parasmia. Now, parasmia, it is a long form COVID symptom. She did get COVID about like 2 years ago. I remember her posting about having COVID, and what it does is it has an effect on your taste buds, and I would think probably your sense of smell too. So everything for her tastes like roadkill. I've also heard people describe it as everything tastes like burnt rubber. It's just nausea inducing, like you really can't eat a lot of food. So eventually you are able to tolerate like some some foods, and that could be like a very small amount. Like she says she can only really tolerate like 5 food items, and she's always looking for a cure or something to like help her get over this. But I have heard of a lot of people or seen like articles of people dealing with this, so it is like a growing concern. I can't imagine dealing with that because I'm already like a very extremely picky eater, and if all of a sudden everything that I eat tastes like roadkill or burnt rubber, I'm gonna die. Anyway, I enjoyed her content enough anyway that I'd put it on the background if I was writing something or if I'm cleaning or something like that. Anti-MLM content does just kind of blend together after a while because a lot of them cover the same things too. So I was very confused when I saw a community post that she had made, and it said the following: "With a heavy heart, I'm here to announce that today's video will be my last anti-MLM video. When I started sharing my story 2 years ago, I did so with the intent that my former teammates and customers would know the truth. I did not expect to have much support, but I am forever grateful for all of the love and support most of you have shown me. You picked me up while I've been down, made me laugh, shown me that I'm not alone, and truly been right alongside me as I navigate these past 2 years of misery. I could never thank you enough for that. With that being said, I have a family that I need to be mentally sound for, and this community has turned extremely toxic over the last year. It's not fair to myself or my family to continue subjecting myself to the public criticism when I'm not mentally strong enough to handle it. It's quite clear to many of us how things have become more about views and actual advocacy and consumer protection. The recent videos that have been made about me in an effort to protect consumers were extremely unexpected and truly disheartening. I didn't receive a message from any of the individuals involved in the making of any of the videos, nor do I have any of them been blocked on here, which has been claimed, which tells me that it was never really about consumer protection. Protecting consumers from something you think is harmful would mean the ultimate goal is to get the harmful content taken down in order to prevent more harmful information from being spread. A more productive way to get content taken down would be to speak to the person about it directly, educating them on the information. Maybe they didn't know. If you acknowledge that something was likely done out of desperation, not ill intentions, and choose to publicly expose them for it, you are a bully and more concerned about the views, in my opinion. I have been open about my mental health over the last 2 years, and many of you know I've been struggling, but very few of you know just how bad I've been struggling. However, seeing some people who do know to what extent I've been struggling still choosing to encourage public conversations like these videos being made about me instead of encouraging private conversations with me human to human is a real kick in the chest. If I was somebody who was accepting a bunch of brand deals from sketchy companies and making boatloads of money off manipulating my following into buying them, I might understand the public humiliation, but I'm not. I've had 3 paid brand deals in the last 2 years, all with brands I truly believed in. No piece of content I ever made has been made with ill intentions, but I am human and I make mistakes, so I'm sorry to anyone my content has ever hurt. For a long time, I've pushed through, sacrificed my own mental health because I know the message is important and my perspective is unique. But there comes a point when you have to start protecting yourself instead of only worrying about protecting other people. And for me, that time is now. As publicly proclaimed mental health advocates, I hope some of these women start to think twice before posting something about someone they know is struggling without getting their side of the story, especially someone who has stayed in her own lane and never initiated or engaged conflict with them. After all, my kids are the only reason I'm here today, and some of those people choosing to speak openly were aware of that. And I was completely perplexed by that. I had no idea. She said this community being toxic. That was confusing because when I look at her comments, it's always like support her and like the content she's putting out and like who she is as a person and really engage with her and are very supportive. So I didn't understand what she meant by this community overall. And when she talked about videos being made about her to protect consumers, which she used quotations, not me, she basically called them clout chasers and saying things were more about views than about protecting people. And then she talks about her mental health and how she's been struggling and how this is making her struggle more. And I'm reading all of this and I'm like, what is she talking about? I did a quick YouTube search of Jessica, just put in Jessica Hickson. I keep saying that, Hickson. I did a quick YouTube search of Jessica Hickson's content, just like putting it in. The first couple of videos were just her videos, so I didn't know what was going on. And then on top of that, she also talked about brand deals and sponsorships, and I just didn't get it. I thought maybe that an anti-MLM or somebody associated with an anti-MLM was maybe spreading like hate on another part of the platform that I just was not familiar with. Because, you know, she does talk about a lot of people and she does get into Zoom calls, and while generally she does censor people's identity, people can still deduce who these people are. Like I said, I went to her channel, I looked at everything on her channel, and it was the same content extent of everything. In fact, the video she referenced had just been posted. I was in the middle of doing stuff, so like that was the extent of the researching that I could do at that point in time, and I had a lot of other stuff that I had to do. I just couldn't dive in at that very moment. And then later I was scrolling YouTube and I saw a community post by Cece Suarez, one of the other anti-MLM creators that I follow. And she said, please refrain from DMing/asking me about other commentary creators, specifically anti-MLM creators. I do not consider myself a part of the community. I consider myself a commentary channel that focuses on scam as a whole. I've had a lot of people DMing me, ask me to denounce or talk about Jessica Hickson promoting deworming products, and I don't think that's appropriate. I have publicly explained my opinions and facts regarding deworming in my top MLM fails number 95, and I have talked to her about it privately. That is enough. I wish Jessica nothing but the best in life and with the future of her YouTube channel. I wish nothing but happiness and success for the people who have opposed her discussing deworming products as well. I do not want to be involved in drama, and I don't need to comment on something I don't want to, nor do I think it's productive or professional for me personally. I just want to focus on my job, my content, and my life. That's it. Thank you. And I was shocked. Deworming products? What? I didn't even know that was a thing. I mean, except for like animals and under like medical use. I can understand why Cece does not want to be involved in this at all, and I am not trying to drag her into this in any way. The woman is expecting. She doesn't need any stress in her life, and this is more of a job for her and a profession. So I understand this is her business, and she just doesn't want to be commenting on that at all. But now that I've been researching this, her video about deworming has been being recommended to me like a lot. I haven't watched it though. So anyway, this really alerted my spidey sense, if you will, that something bigger was happening. So I went to Reddit first, nothing, surprisingly actually. Then I checked YouTube, specifically putting in Jessica Hickson deworming. 2 different videos popped up. One video was by Briannah Jewel titled Jessica Hickson is promoting pseudoscience and nobody is talking about it. And the other video is by Dietitian Benson of Unlock Nutrition, and her video was titled When the Anti-MLMer Promotes Pseudoscience. Let's chat. And she has actually had 2 videos since where she's been like responding to comments and whatnot about it. But I'm just gonna talk about these 2 videos. Both of these videos discuss TikToks that Jessica made and I believe has deleted, because I've seen like stills from these TikToks and they're nowhere on her profile, at least like I can't find them. But they both discuss these TikToks that she made and the whole deworming thing of how she got these dewormers and took these dewormers and thinks she passed worms. And then they also reference another TikToker named the Plague Doctress who is dispelling this and is saying why what Jessica is doing is actually dangerous. So I decided, all right, these people referencing TikTok, let me go to TikTok. Like I said, some of those TikToks of Jessica's, I believe, are deleted. Some are still up though. I mean, it was kind of like a scavenger hunt, honestly. So first I decided to go to Plague Doctress's TikTok. Now she, from what I gathered from her other various TikToks, actually has a master's degree in public health. And I can only imagine the stress of having that kind of job in this kind of environment these days with, you know, COVID and everything going on. Point being, she is an expert in the field, and she also used to be a pet groomer, which I think pet groomers have to know like basics of like worms and stuff, because pets get those a lot more than humans do. So her 2 TikToks that really mainly focus specifically on Jessica, they respond to her whole deworming process. She has a whole deworming playlist. I'll link the whole playlist down below. But she initially discusses how what Jessica's talking about is pseudoscience. So I'm not really sure how much of her TikTok I'm gonna put in here, because it's actually a very long TikTok, but I just wanted to put in the majority of stuff to like get the gist of it.
This is the creator. The video she posted, she's encouraging everyone to look up ropeworms. She says that they are debated within science. Some scientists seem to think they are a new species of parasitic worms, and some scientists believe that they are intestinal lining, which is not accurate. It's not true, because most scientists agree that ropeworm is a pseudoscientific term to describe the intestinal lining that you shit out when you have a colonic enema or you are otherwise damaging your intestines in some way. I did some searching. I cannot find any robust peer-reviewed study that proves that ropeworms are anything more than the lining of your intestines. I found a 2021 study out of Kuwait that cites, according to some scientists, there are parasitic worms due to the presence of human DNA. You know what also contains human DNA? Human tissue. I looked at that study that they cited where they're mentioning scientists think that it's a parasite because it contains human DNA. Not true. That study says that they did not even get enough evidence to identify the species. The data collected is not sufficient to identify the species. They also mentioned in this Kuwait study that they had patients treated at their clinic with anti-parasitic drugs several times, and the only thing that helped was an enema. That's because it's intestinal lining. If it was a parasite, the anti-parasitic drugs would have taken care of it. More than likely it would have been taken care of. The only other people on the internet I see purporting this as true are folks who financially benefit from you believing that you have parasites, but you're asymptomatic and should buy their product in order to get rid of their parasites. Regarding the placebo effect, I would assume that even if you weren't thinking that fasting would improve your chronic illness conditions, you took those steps to fast because you thought it would benefit your body in some way. So you're already primed for a confirmation bias toward positive results. Anyone would be. I'm not saying that you are like faulty in some way. Everyone has biases. Not only that, but you are thinking potentially you just passed a gigantic, disgusting parasite. The endorphins resulting from you believing that you just passed potentially a disgusting parasite could contribute to the overall improvement of very generalized symptoms like malaise or brain fog. I'm not saying for sure that you're faking it or that this is the result of a placebo effect or whatever, but I'm just letting you know that you were primed for a placebo effect to take place.
But apparently deworming is becoming a trend on TikTok, and it kind of just, to me, like replaces like all those like fat burning supplements that we used to see back in the day. And I did, of course, go back and watch some of Jessica's TikTok, and for some reason, Jessica, out of context for me, goes to a drugstore and buys a deworming product. I'm assuming because she saw a TikTok talking about deworming themselves. I didn't even know they made over-the-counter deworming products for humans. Then she goes into talking about what she passed as a result of taking the dewormer, and it looked like small little white tiny worms that didn't move, because apparently this type of worm that everybody's talking about on TikTok doesn't move when it comes out of your body. Worms totally move when they come out of your body. I have not experienced it, but I have like seen it in person. I have seen worms come out of an animal and seen them moving. It was horrifying. And this thing is called a rope worm. So then not long after this deworming process, and maybe even while she was still deworming, I'm not really sure, she went on a 3-day water cleanse. And if I'm not mistaken, a water cleanse really just means you can only drink water. You could have like coffee with nothing in it, and then like some kind of broth, like a beef broth or a chicken broth or a vegetable broth. Like that's all you're having. And after 3 days, she broke her fast, she ate food and immediately went to the bathroom and then passed what she said was a very long rope worm that was anywhere from 12 to 18 inches. Yeah, I just realized also that I am talking about somebody's poop in a YouTube video. Like not even mine, I'm talking about somebody else's. But she talked about it first, so we're gonna talk about it here. I have questions. Mostly, did she speak to a doctor before doing any of this? Because I don't believe she did. She has never indicated that in any way, shape, or form. And she also never really indicated in any way, shape, or form that she has any symptoms of intestinal parasites. She, I think, just saw a TikTok and was like, oh my God, I have to do it too. Because apparently studies say anywhere from like 3 to 5 million people in America are undiagnosed with intestinal parasites. Well, as of 2021, there's over 331.9 million people in America. I'm sure that number is accurate, but it's like a very, very, very small percentage of Americans. And I'm sure a lot of those people probably travel, because that's generally where people who live in more developed countries end up getting them, either through travel or through like really unclean environments like public pools or public showers, like that kind of thing. But it's not easy to catch a parasite in a developed country where there is like clean facilities and like, you know, mostly clean water. I mean, I say mostly clean because like I'm from Flint, remember? So clean water is subjective. I'm no doctor though, but I did have somebody very close to me just recently go traveling and come back, and they did actually get they didn't get an intestinal parasite, they got an intestinal pathogen, which is different, but when it comes to intestinal stuff, it's kind of the same symptoms initially. And that's gonna be like bloating, pain, nausea, cramping. Those are just some of the basic symptoms, and then it can progress even farther. And Jessica didn't appear to be having any of these symptoms. Maybe she thought the deworming process would help cure her parasmia, but she didn't seem to indicate that specifically either. She did say she felt better and her skin was clearer and stuff, but that could have been for a million things. Jessica later does also make a TikTok indicating that when it comes to ropeworm, the scientific community is divided. There is one group of scientists that think ropeworm is actually a legitimate parasite, and then there's there's another group of scientists that actually think it's intestinal lining. And Plague Doctoress shoots us down and completely, this is misinformation. I went ahead and did my own Google search because isn't that what we would all do unless we're, you know, have a master's in stuff? When I Googled ropeworm, really the only things that came up were like roundworm, hookworm, tapeworms, pinworms. One of the top articles suggested that there was little evidence suggesting that this is anything other than intestinal lining shedding from damage to the intestines. I cannot find on any actual like reputable site like any kind of real studies indicating that there is any evidence indicating otherwise that this is intestinal parasites. Now remember, I'm not a doctor. I don't have a master's in anything. There are definitely some things that I don't have access to, but my quick Google search of like the first page, maybe 2 pages, I didn't really turn up a lot, except for when I searched for are ropeworms real? And once again, the majority of articles stated that there is little evidence to show that they are actually real parasites. So when Jessica says there's a group of scientists that think this, there's no group of scientists that think this. There are just people who are marketing this snake oil on the internet. And this kind of also brings me a little bit back to all the stuff that's happening with Michaela and Mascaragate and everything, even though I know it's kind of like over at this point. Some people are still talking about it. But in the terms of deceptive marketing, this deworming marketing that's happening on social media is actually causing real harm to people. And this is a problem, and this is where that slippery slope is. So we have Jessica Hickson, a respected former MLM hunbot, making anti-MLM content, trying to save other people from falling for the scam of being an MLM, and then meanwhile pushing an unregulated health product that could actually harm a lot of people. The irony of the whole thing is not lost on me, because specifically with like It Works, they did a lot of supplements and shakes and stuff like that and body wraps, which I'm going to tell you right now, body wraps really don't work. The science of body wraps is they absorb a lot of water from the area, which makes your skin lay flatter on the tissue underneath, which does temporarily remove a little bit of weight around in the area, but when you start drinking water, that's just gonna come right back. That's just the science of it. It just shows that she learned nothing. She learned about the whole financial scam of it, but when it comes to the pseudoscience and the pushing misinformation of things that can actually harm people, she really didn't learn anything. She says she's not scamming because she's not making any money off of this. That's not a flex. You're just getting scammed too. You're just also the person who's getting damaged in the process, and then you're also spreading that around because you are a large creator and there is some kind of responsibility in there, right? And there is some weight to what you're saying, especially in a community in a lot of aspects fights against pseudoscience. And that's why I brought up the whole Young Living thing. Is she never made videos on Young Living, and they push a lot of pseudoscience, especially with the ingesting of essential oils, which is not good for you and can cause internal burns and damage. And just because you're not the one scamming people does not mean it is not a scam. People are still getting the false information and they're still getting hurt. You just aren't in the downline this time. So to me, this shows me 2 things. One, Jessica really didn't learn from her past. Leaving the It Works company was just about the fact that she wasn't making any money no matter how hard she tried, which of course, you know, is a very good reason to leave. But I don't think it was as much about remorse of the potential of actually hurting people physically as much as financially. And, you know, the fact that these wraps and things, these supplements aren't really going to do what you are promoting them to do. And 2, it also makes it feel like she just stumbled into the anti-MLM community and realized that this was the new way for her to provide for her family. And it paid off because she knows a lot about the inside. It just takes away the genuineness of a lot of her content for me. It's disappointing because I did feel like she was a genuine person, but I have to remember she did make it to the top of an MLM. So with all that being said, I just ask that you all please don't take unregulated products. Speak with your doctor if you're having issues. If you don't have any symptoms of parasites, do not treat the parasites. Your body is actually made to try and take care of itself as much as possible, and you do have good digestive stuff living in your belly that you don't want to just totally ruin. Take a probiotic. Prebiotics are great, but let's not deworm ourselves without, you know, making sure that we actually need it. And talk to your doctor and get a second opinion if needed. And be careful, of course, when you travel. I used to watch that show Monsters Inside Me. I don't know if that show still exists, but it was a show all about parasites in people. And some of that stuff was literally so horrifying. The people that were getting parasites in that show were literally in excruciating pain. Like one person almost lost, well, I think they actually did lose their vision, but once they were able to remove the worm out of her freaking eye, she was able to see again. And this other guy had a bot fly in his head and they couldn't find it for so long. They thought he was going crazy, but he could hear something like scratching in the back of his head. And then finally he went to the doctor right before it was a burst out of his head. They were able to cut it out in time because it's a good thing. Bot flies, I guess when they burst out, like, it would have made a big hole and he probably would have hemorrhaged to death. Just by watching that show for like 3 or 4 seasons, I've learned quite too much about parasites and I am terrified of them. Especially bed bugs. Terrified of bed bugs. Oh my god, whenever I stay at a hotel, first thing I do is check my mattress for bed bug eggs. And they can live for like a year, maybe 2 years without any food or water, just dormant. Anyway, you guys, that is it for today's video. If you have not already, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also check out my second channel. Eventually I will get content up there. I'm planning on getting it up there like ASAP. I have some stuff filmed. It's just, you know, it takes forever to like get things edited because life. Anyway, I hope you all are staying safe. There's a lot of crazy things happening out there. Stay safe, you guys. Stay vigilant and look out for each other, okay? Because we are all each other's got. I will see you guys in my next video. Laters. Bye.